Is this actually the worst possible time you could be buying real estate? Hey everybody, Scott Walters, welcome to the channel. If you're new, I want to thank you for coming. If you're returning, I want to thank you for your continued support. Before we get into today's red hot topic, I'm going to politely ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Please watch to the end for my final thought. Hit the bell icon so you're notified when new videos are released. It's very important to stay close to the channel in these very, very tricky times. All right, folks, welcome into the channel. It's always an honor and a privilege to be with you. I hope you're all doing great. We're going to have another hard talk today, another pull no punches, not going to, no sugarcoating it. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you straight, folks. I know that's what you want, and it's what you deserve. The reality is, folks, I mean, my gosh, again, I laugh at some of this stuff because it's like a self-defense mechanism. What we're living in it's just such insanity. And so with a lot of the distractions and the noise that's going on right now, it's really hard to decipher and understand what's truth and what's not. I always try to provide a level-headed take and narrative on what's going on today with the real estate market. Like we've talked about before, if the real estate market crashes, everything crashes. Make no mistake about that. I really want you to really understand that. If the real estate market crashes, everything will in fact crash. Everything in fact hinges on the real estate market. So one of the things that I get a lot of people asking me just today, again, talking to actually one of my commercial tenants, automotive industry. Great, by the way, if you've got commercial space, if you're in retail, office, I mean, you are in big trouble. That's the elephant in the room. You know, automotive is not recession proof, but they're going to weather one of those storms much better. I've learned my lesson in the last recession. I had service providers, contractors, things like that. And when the economic downturn came, they in fact, you know, folded up, and I was stuck with tenants leaving my buildings. So for whatever it's worth, one of the questions that I do get is, hey, is there, instead, the question used to be, is this a good time to buy? And it was everybody drinking the real estate Kool-Aid, you know, herd mentality. It was the narrative that, you know, this is a great time to buy because of interest rates. But the problem is because you were overpaying for your real estate to take advantage of low interest rates, it now was kind of a wash, not so smart after all. We had 10 million people buy in the height of a real estate bubble, and that's not good in itself. But what's even more dangerous about that one is they overpaid. They went above appraised values. So as soon as a correction happens, those will be the people that go upside down, will be dragging a depreciated asset along for the ride first. And that's never a good feeling. Even if you can make your payment, it's never a good feeling to know that other people now are buying houses, or you could have bought your house for less, the one you wanted, but you're stuck paying for a house that's not worth what you paid for it anymore, and you don't necessarily even love the house. And then as soon as you start suffering some pain in the pocketbook from maybe inflation or whatever else the economy decides it wants to throw at us, and we have to all understand our economy is in a very fragile state at the moment. I mean, my goodness, I mean, we're already having pain, and we haven't even started the interest rate hikes yet. We all know the markets are very volatile, and many heavy hitters have reduced, if not got out of these markets altogether, and we always have to look at people that are more successful than us in order to make smart decisions. As somebody who's risen from the ashes of the last recession, who's risen from the ashes more than once in life, that has very much a good appreciation for life because of that. Now, I definitely don't want to repeat the same mistake over and over expecting a different result. And I don't plan on it this time. I myself am on the sidelines. I'm not going to buy in the biggest bubble ever recorded in world history. And that, at the end of the day, folks, is the facts that we're living in. The conversation I had today from a potential client who's actually a tenant of mine in commercial space who's asking if they should buy right now. They said, is this a bad time to buy? I mean, just wrap your head around that really quick. Like we've talked about before, this is the psychology of sales, the psychology of people. And as an industry insider, it's just very easy for me to keep my thumb on the pulse and heat map what people are thinking, of course, especially in terms of real estate. As we know, as we just mentioned before, everything hinges on the housing market. If the housing market fails, everything will fail. When I have people now ask me, instead of, hey, is this a good time to buy? Hey, I want to buy. Is this a bad time to buy? People are waking up to the fact that we are in fact in the biggest bubble ever produced in world history. And that alone, folks, I mean, you really just have to take a look at that. Now, the reality is, folks, once you make up your mind to buy, you're buying. There's nothing I can do to stop you. I've seen that many times. There's many people out there right now that I'm helping. They've made up their mind. They are buying no matter what. Whether I'll help them, if I'm not going to help them, they'll find somebody else who will. Once you make up your mind to buy, whether you're in a bubble or not, you're buying. I did that in the last bubble. I heard very few people warning me, and I had already made up my mind to buy. And you can't change people's minds. When it comes to finances, politics, religion, once people make up their minds, you're not changing it. It's very rare you'll see somebody change their mind. You know, I do want to take this quick moment to address Meet Kevin. He's a popular YouTuber. He made a ton of money during the pandemic, during lockdowns, because he had a captured audience. He took huge YouTube revenues to the point where he didn't have to work anymore. He became a full-time YouTuber, and he started following whatever niche that would capture an audience, and he found himself in the stock market niche, pouring a lot of this funny money through YouTube ad revenues into the stock market, coining phrases like buy the dip, and then pay for my, to be part of my live streams, watch me spend my money, you can follow me, I can teach you the psychology of money, blah, blah, blah. And even him, the biggest, what I categorize, rainbows and sunshine content creator in the history of YouTube, flip-flopped out of nowhere, and the blowback this kid is experiencing, which is just an example, folks, of when you see somebody like that, one of the biggest rainbows and sunshine, buy the dip, keep buying, come out of nowhere, pull the rug out from under all his followers, have to turn off comments from his channel because of the blowback he's experiencing. Now he's coming back onto his channel trying to do what he can to save face, but his credibility has been tarnished. Who's going to follow a guy on stock market advice that's no longer in the stock market? Now, I don't blame the kid. Like we've talked about, get out of these markets, get on the sidelines, and he finally did. He'd be better off just, telling people this is my plan, I'm doing it, this is my new position. Sure, you're still going to have some blowback, but at least it wouldn't have been something that came out of left field, blindsided people that are paying for his courses to follow him on the stock market when he's no longer there, and he's still now trying to guide people in the stock market when he's not there. I just personally don't think it's going to work. And final thoughts today, folks. Like I said before, there's a shift happening, a mental shift. The heavy hitters are out of these markets on the sidelines. I'm meeting people in my everyday work asking me, is this a bad time to buy? They want to know, is this a bad time to buy? And we know statistically that the majority of Americans now, when asked if this is a good time to buy real estate, are saying no. Now, folks, I am just somebody doing my best to be a voice of reason in a very unreasonable real estate market. The reality is the law of averages, the law of gravity, basic mathematics, and history alone would tell us that anytime we get into a bubble, bubbles pop. And we are, in fact, in the biggest bubble ever produced in world history. So I'm really just trying to make people aware of that, because if, in fact, you buy right now and it doesn't work out for you, I don't want you to think nobody told you so, that you didn't know. And, unfortunately, in their last real estate bubble, the narrative from mainstream media and big government was real estate's too big to fail. There's only a couple people, and the most famous one, Michael Burry, who caught it, pulled in, and bet against the markets. People laughed at him, and he, in fact, won. He's doing it again, no surprise there. The great Warren Buffett, be fearful when others are greedy, greedy when others are fearful. There's going to be a lot of fear entering these markets, and that's when you're going to see heavy hitters jump back out and buy. You're never going to time the top or the bottom perfectly, but the number one thing all successful people do, get out early. If you appreciate the content, I humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Go make it count today. I'll see you on the next video.